Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is May 13, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 206 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm gonna mention, as I mention in every video, I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USAS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question from Boko Kinga. Hello, hope you are doing well. My priority date is February 20, 2017. I submitted all required documents and attended an interview at the US Embassy. Alright, but my visa was refused because my lawyer didn't take action when contacted about my case when I was 21. Oh man. When I was under 21. As a result, my case moved from F2A to F2B. I'm from Venezuela and my older siblings who were always F2B received their family reunification letters parole, but I didn't since I was then F2A. Wow. Now that I'm in F2B, could you please estimate how long I may have to wait? Also, what steps should I take to ensure my case progresses smoothly? Thank you for your guidance. Man, sorry this happened to you. Man. Okay, let's take a look at the visa bulletin. So now you're on F2B, your priority date is the same as February 2017. Let's see what's going on for F2B as of June 2024 visa bulletin. You're from Venezuela, so we're looking at all chargeability area, graph A, the availability of the immigrant visa. So we are looking right now at April 2016 for the F2B, and you are in February 2017. So let's see, your February and the visa bulletin is in April. So April 2016, February 2016. So it's about a year. You still have about a year. It's I'm trying to figure out if it's less or more. So April 2016 and your February. So yeah, so you have February to February 2016. Actually less because you're February 2016 and it's in April 2016. So you have less than a year. About 10 months, February to April. Let's see, March, April. Yeah, so about 10 months. Hopefully, if F2B is moving 1 month every month, if we see consistent movement, you're looking at about 10 more months before the availability of the immigrant visa. And then, of course, they're going to be rescheduling the interview. So, I mean, there's really not much that you need to do at this point, as long as you have 10 months plus however long. I'm not sure how busy the US Embassy is in Venezuela, but you probably already know how long you waited for F2A after it became current, how long you waited for your immigrant visa interview, so you can estimate. But yeah, I would say just prepare all the documents that you were documentarily qualified with initially. If there were any major updates in your petitioner sponsor situation, financial situation, have all the documents, updated documents in a separate envelope, in a separate folder, just in case if it is requested during the interview, you can present it. And that's really it. You're F2B, so you're a child, son, daughter of a permanent resident. So the questions that are going to be asked during the interview will be about the relationship and establishing the relationship, which they already did during the documentary qualification. So you'll be just showing the originals of the birth certificates and stuff like that. And then of course you will have the questions regarding, the intent to immigrate to the United States, basically asking you, what are your plans? Where are you planning to live? What are you planning to do here? What kind of line of work? So far, so forth, just to establish that you are planning and you are thinking about it and you are serious about your immigration. So yeah, sorry this happened to you. Hopefully my answer was helpful. I'm going to post the response here and we're going to move on further to user EG9CG. Sorry, sometimes YouTube does not show me the names. So user says, what if I had TPS status for 1 year in France, then I came back to Ukraine for 1 year and now I'm in USA applying for TPS. Could it be influential on the solution of giving me a status? Okay, yeah, Yeah, absolutely, and in a positive way. In a positive way, because if you had, temporary protected status granted in one country, in France, it just shows that you definitely are eligible for TPS here in the United States as well, as long as the country is listed. And I'm pretty sure Ukraine is listed on the TPS currently, but let me double check just to be sure. Let's see, TPS. There you go, temporary protected status. And if everyone is interested to know where to find that, this is the official government website for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, uscs.gov. All you have to do is type in TPS in search box and then click on the very first link, which is, apologies, wrong, there you go, right here, the very first link that says temporary protected status. So you click on that, you scroll down, and you will see countries currently designated for TPS. And if you want to find out whether your country is currently, if you are eligible, being a national of a certain country, to apply for temporary protected status. And there you go, Ukraine is listed. So yeah, definitely, definitely, you know what you're doing, and yeah, it will, and in a positive way. All right, let's move on to the next one from Deepak Kumar, DW8NW. That looks like two comments. F3 May 2012. How many time? To welcome letter. Good information, sir. Please tell me my priority date May 2012. F3 category. How many times, sir? All right, so let's take a look. So you are F3 2012. I don't know your chargeability area, so we're going to be looking at all chargeability area. So let's see what's going on for F3. So for all chargeability area, the F3 priority dates are currently on March 2010, and you are May 2012. So you're about 2 years, and from March to May, April, May, so 2 years and 2 months away from the availability of the immigrant visa. Let's take a look at the graph B now. That's when you receive the welcome letter from the NVC portal, when the NVC portal opens up so that you can start your documentary qualification. And it is on September 2010. Wow. March, September 2020. So this hasn't been updated. So it looks like F3 is not an updated information here, because this is on March 10 and this is on September 2010, which really does not make any sense, because this date should be before this date. So we're not looking at the graph B. Typically the graph B and graph A, they vary from each other at least 6 months, usually about a year. So they open up about a year before the availability of the immigrant visa. Your NVC portal opens up so that you can start your documentary qualification process. That's typically how it works. So in your situation, you have 2 years and 2 months, roughly. That is if the visa bulletin keeps moving 1 month every month. So in about a year, you can expect your welcome letter from the NVC, basically NVC portal opening up and you being able to log in and start your documentary qualification process. So you still do have a little bit of time before that. I'm gonna post the responses on both of your comments because they're on different videos. Yeah, I would say give it another 6 months and then start preparing for documentary qualification. I do have a video on this channel specifically on documentary qualification and what it entails, and basically, you know, just paying the fees and filling out affidavit of support, you petitioner sponsor, being qualified as a sponsor. But yeah, definitely check that video out. All right, let's move on to the next comment from Elian France Sibayan 6772. Hi, hello, my eldest daughter petitioned me, need joint sponsor, which is my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter sent me W-2 tax. Is it enough to show as financial support in my interview? Great question. So whenever it comes to joint sponsors, basically it is the same thing that you're providing as the petitioner sponsor yourself. So it's going to be mainly the affidavit of support and also the tax returns. Now, the W-2 tax, if you're referring to the tax return, then yes, it should be sufficient as long as the affidavit of support is also provided. But you definitely do need the tax returns whenever it comes to tax transcripts specifically, whenever it comes to establishing the financial stance of joint sponsor. So in order to obtain the tax transcripts, just go to IRS website, irs.gov, and then from there on you will be able to get it. But affidavit of support is definitely one of the required documents, which is, you already know what it is, and because you already done it yourself. All right, let me post the response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one. From Anastafish4925. Hello, thanks for the videos. I'm a permanent resident and I want to petition my son who is turning 21 by end of this year. So he's aging out. My question is, will his age freeze or will CSPA apply on him? If I apply for him now, he will fall under F2A category, but what will happen after he ages out? Will they transfer him under different category? And should I apply for him now or just wait after he turns 21? Thank you. Great question. Thank you for asking. So I would definitely recommend applying as soon as possible. And there are a few reasons why I think that's a better thing to do. First of all, yes, if you're applying now, he will be under F2A, but there's also potential. I don't know when your naturalization is coming up, but there's an option that if you do get naturalized before the category switches from F2A to F2B, so before he ages out, then his age is frozen because now he's in immediate relative category. But CSPA, as far as the CSPA go, you only have the amount of time the USCIS petition is pending. So the I-130 petition, how long it is pending with USCIS. That is the amount of time that you can subtract from the age on the day of the interview. So if, let's say, your son is 22 years old on the day of the interview, and your petition, I-130 petition, has been pending with USCIS for over a year, that amount of time over a year can be subtracted from your son's age, and yes, he qualifies under CSPA. But again, you see, it depends on how long the I-130 petition is going to be pending. So in any case, whether we're talking about you potentially becoming naturalized and then yes, the age is frozen, if you're naturalized before he ages out, as long as you update NVC, just make sure that they are updated with all of the process, because you see the dates are kind of close. Or if he qualifies under CSPA or not, the sooner you apply, it's in your favor. So I would recommend just applying as soon as possible and not waiting. And even if you don't turn, even if you don't become naturalized U.S. citizen by him, before he turns into over 21 and becomes F2B in the F2B category, and even if he does not qualify under CSPA, still you apply now rather than applying 1 year or 6 months down the road. You have the priority date 6 months or a year down the road sooner. All right, so let me post a response and we're gonna move on to the next question comment from Olive Basco 9062. F1, please. Documentarily qualified 1 year now. Hot topics, Jamaica. So you're F1 category, so you're already documentarily qualified. So in Jamaica, so it's all chargeability area. So right now, as of June 2024 visa bulletin, July 2015, that's the priority dates whose immigrant visas are now becoming available. So if you want a little bit more detailed answer, let me know you already let me know your category, but put it again, your category, and that's for everyone. If you want to know your rough estimates on the visa bulletin, how long you will be waiting for the availability of the immigrant visa or NVC portal opening up, I need three things. I need the family preference category, the chargeability area, and very important is the priority date. So I'm gonna post a response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Shelly Ann Baker 9075, and from Jamaica, F1 category, priority date March 30th 2015, documentarily qualified October 2021. When can I expect my interview date? Okay, so I just said that all chargeability area for F1 is on July 2015, and you are in March 30, 2015. So you are already definitely current on the visa bulletin. So your immigrant visa is available, and it has been available now for a few months. I can't tell exactly how long it's been waiting, because sometimes the visa bulletin doesn't move. Sometimes it moves more than a month, but at least few months you have been, you had your immigrant visa available, which is great news. That means that your interview is about to be scheduled or already has been scheduled. Now, Jamaica, as far as I can tell from the people commenting, is about a year and a half wait for the interview after the immigrant visa becomes available. It varies from category to category, so it might be a little bit different in your case, but as far as I can tell from the people commenting from Jamaica, it's about a year and a half wait for the interviews. So you still have a little bit of time. I would say give it another few months, at least 3-4 months, and reach out to US Embassy in Jamaica, Kingston, and see if they can give you the information unofficial when the interview is scheduled for, because over the phone it's not an official announcement, and sometimes they can take a look at the schedule and just tell you when the interview is scheduled for. If they can't do that, sometimes they can tell you approximately how long the wait time is for these interviews. If they don't tell you, don't be upset. Sometimes they don't give that information, but I will give you the link for the embassy in Jamaica, US Embassy in Jamaica, so usembassy.gov, and there we go, Jamaica, and here's their phone number. So like I said, give him a few more months just to make sure your interview is scheduled, because they schedule them pretty fast, but they don't announce you the actual interview date up until the 30 days before the actual interview. Sometimes, very rarely, 60 days, but most of the times it's 30 days. All right, let's move on to the next one from Shani Vijay Singh. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, probably am. I'm trying to pay the fee and I'm looking for a number, so alien registration number, but I don't see it on my I-551. Is this same as registration number? No, so no, it's definitely not the same as registration number, because the registration number on the I-551 stamp is basically your visa number. But the alien registration number is issued when you are going through an immigration process. It really depends on, in yours, it can be, in your situation, it can be family reunification, possibly, employment-based, possible. So it would depend on, you would be able to find your alien registration number depending on what kind of immigration process that you had to go through in order to obtain your I-551 stamp. But if you want, let me know what kind of fee you're trying to pay and where, because you might not even need to use your alien registration number, and you might not even have the alien registration number in the first place. Like I said, depending on what kind of immigration process you're going through, sometimes the alien registration number is not issued at all. So please let me know in a separate comment. Don't respond to my comment. I'm gonna post this here, and I'm gonna say more information needed. Don't respond to my comment within your comment, just submit it as a separate comment and I will try to address it in the next video. Alright, let's move on to the next question, comment from Stunner Dukes 5239. Thank you, sir, for the channel. It helps a lot. I want you to give me a rough estimate of how long I will be waiting for my I-130 to become current. Family preference, F2A chargeability, rest of the world. Priority date, February 26, 2023. All right, let's take a look. F2A, so we got all chargeability. So we're looking at right now, November 2021. And you are in February 2023. So that is roughly a year and a half. So February 2023, November 2021, we got November 2022. That's 1 year. And then November, December, January, February. So like a year and 3 months. About a year and 3 months before the availability of the immigrant visa. That's when your priority date is going to be current for the availability of the immigrant visa. And by then you're going to be already documentarily qualified. And I'm thinking right around this time, your NVC portal, if it's not open already, it should be opening up, because on the graph B, which shows us when the NVC portal is going to be open up, we are on September 2023 and you are February 2023. So you are, like 6 months ahead. So your NVC portal should definitely be open already. So you probably either completed your documentary qualification already, or in the process of it, probably already completed it. But if you are going through it, I do have a video on documentary qualification process if you want to check it out. But you're roughly looking at about another year and 3 months. The good news is that F2A has been moving very rapidly, at least like 3 months every month in the past few Visa Bulletin editions, which is definitely good news. So it's a rough estimate. It might be even faster than that. So let me post a response here and we're gonna move on to the next one from Judith, grade 5245. Thank you, sir. My priority date is August 29, 2021. Please, when can I expect an interview? F2A category on general. Please help. All right, so you're August 2021, and so you have been current for August, September, October, November, about 3 months, but it's a very rough. It's not very accurate, because the Visa Bulletin has been, for F2A, it has been moving every month more than a month. So you might have been current for about a month now. But it's still great news, because you are current. So your immigrant visa interview, depending on where you're from in the world, depending on how busy US Embassy is in that country, that's really at the courtesy of the US Embassy, how long you will be waiting for that interview, how long they schedule you ahead. But give it a few months and reach out to the US Embassy in your country. Again, these recommendations, whenever it comes to calling the US Embassy, it's only in sometimes you get a nice person over the phone, very considerate, very understanding. And if you're polite, if you're professional, you can give them your, when you were documentarily qualified, your priority date, that it is current, and it's been current for at least 6 months now. I would recommend waiting about 6 months after your priority date is current before reaching out to the US Embassy, and just asking them if they can give you at least an approximate date how long you will be waiting. But if they can give you an actual date when your interview was scheduled for, fantastic. If they can, great. If they can't, which most of the times they say no, we cannot give you that information, it's fine. Just say that's all right. I understand, no problems at all. But it's worth a shot. But as I've been mentioning earlier, for most of the world right now, it's about a year and a half wait for the interviews. Seems like that number is coming down, because it seems like there was a lot of accumulation because of the whole pandemic we had and all the closures of the US embassies. But I think they're going to be catching up, and that number is, we see it coming down a little bit. So let me post the response here, and we're gonna move on to the next question coming from DD24. Hi sir, good day. Can I know the notable questions the counselor do ask during an F1 visa interview. And if you do not get interview until your expedited time reach, what goes on next with your process? Okay, so thank you for asking. So whenever it comes to F1 category, because it's one of the straightforward categories, right? Straightforward in terms of relationship. It's a son or daughter over 21 of a U.S. citizen. So the only relationship related questions to establish the relationship is a lot easier. All you're doing is you're showing the birth certificate that shows that yes, you really are a son or a daughter of this person who is now a U.S. citizen. That's it. All right. Compared to spousal relationships, when you have husband and wife, they ask 3 questions to kind of establish whether it's a real marriage or not. Whenever it comes to sons and daughters, nothing like that. You don't have to worry about that. So the only real questions that are asked are the questions establishing your intent to immigrate to the United States of America. And that can be questions like, where are you planning to live in the United States? Are you planning to live with your parents? What kind of work are you planning to do in the United States? Have you sold any of your property here in preparation to immigrate to the United States? Which you don't have to do any of that. In fact, they tell you that you don't have to sell anything or do any radical preparations to move. But they still can ask you those questions to see whether you're serious about immigrating. And if yes, and if you say, yeah, oh yeah, of course, I'm doing the preparation to move, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, whatever it is you're doing, and I'm thinking about living in, I don't know, whatever, California, and I'm thinking about starting this kind of business. All of these things, they show to the consul who is taking your interview, they show that you have been thinking about it and you're serious about it and you are actually planning to immigrate to the United States. And that's one of the main things they look for is, because they're issuing an immigrant visa, they want to see an intent to immigrate to the United States. And as far as your second question, if you do not get interview until your expedited time reach, what goes on next with your process? It's a difficult question to answer because really you don't know what your time is. You really don't know how long your wait time for the interview is because it is at the courtesy of the U.S. Embassy. They can schedule you a year after your immigrant visa is available. They can schedule you a year and a half. They can schedule you 2 years. Some countries, like for example, Philippines, Manila, Philippines, U.S. Embassy in Manila, Philippines, they have like 2.5 years wait for an interview after the immigrant visa is already available. So it varies heavily. So you really can't answer that question because we don't know how long, and the only ones that do know how long the wait time for the interviews are the embassy themselves. That's why I say give them, a sufficient amount of time, at least 6 months after your immigrant visa is available, and then reach out and see if they will be kind enough to let you know. And if they don't be upset because, again, it is at their discretion. All right, let's move on to the next one from Erica Ashley. F2A category, I'm a permanent resident. When do you think my spouse will get an appointment? Priority date February 2020, documentarily qualified March 2022, chargeability Philippines. All right, let's take a look. So visa bulletin F2A Philippines, we are looking at. Okay, so it's current with the rest of the world, which is definitely great news. And it's November 2021 and you are February 2020. So you have been current now for a while. Again, it's hard to tell exactly how long, yourself, if you've been paying attention to the visa bulletin. But like I said, visa bulletin, it has been moving faster every month than a month. So you might have been current for less than, current difference between your priority date and the priority date shown on the visa bulletin, if that makes sense. But the good news, I would say it's at least 6 months you have been current now, and that means that your interview is most likely already scheduled. You're from Philippines, and I literally just mentioned that Philippines is one of those countries. That's why you guys have a separate chargeability area, is because the immigration, the immigration flow from that country is heavier than from other countries. Which means, of course, that the U.S. Embassy, they are a little bit busier than in other countries. That's why there is about 2.5 years. But I would say, since you've been current for at least 6 months now, possibly a year, and again, you know that for sure, because if you've been paying attention to the visa bulletin, you know how long you've been current now. And if we take the 2 years wait time approximately, as far as I know from the people that are commenting from Philippines, I would say you still have about a year. So I would say most likely you're looking at somewhere between the middle of next year, possibly beginning of next year, but most likely the middle of next year. So sometime around this time, 2025, for your interview. Hopefully sooner, of course, but I would say this is a bit more realistic. But I think you've been waiting long enough, and you can reach out to the U.S. Embassy in Manila, Philippines, and ask them. I'm looking at M, I should be looking at P, and ask them if they can give you the information when your interview was scheduled for, because it's an official announcement, so sometimes they can look into their system and let you know. So let me give you the link, and we're gonna move on for our last comment question for today from Nicola Lynch. Hi sir, I was not documentarily qualified. My priority date is October 2010. Family category F3. I want to know when I am going to be current. Alright, so let's take a look at F3. I'm going to look at all chargeability area. So F3 right now is on March 2010. And you are October 2010. So you still have about March 2010 to October 2010. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So roughly 7 months before the availability of immigrant visa. That is a rough estimate because sometimes visa bulletin doesn't move, sometimes it retrogresses, sometimes it moves a few months ahead. But as of right now, we're looking at about 7 more months. Now, you said that you're not documentarily qualified yet. Let's look at the graph B. Oh yeah, so F3 is not updated. So yeah, I would say that your NVC portal should be opening up literally anytime now. Literally anytime now, because like I said, it is usually between a year and 6 months before the availability of your immigrant visa. They usually open up your NVC portal so that you can start your documentary qualification process. So Nicola, for you right now is a perfect time to do as much research as possible on becoming documentarily qualified, what that process entails, what kind of documents are needed, what kind of fees are needed. I do have a video on this channel called Documentarily Qualified. What does it mean? Check it out. In that video, I show an actual NVC portal that was already documentarily qualified, with the fees, with the documents that are needed. Collect everything as much as possible so that as soon as the NVC portal opens up, you can, within a week, submit everything and be done. And try to get documentarily qualified on the first shot, because if you're not documentarily qualified on the first shot, no big deal, but the second time you submit it, it takes longer. So if you can get documentarily qualified on the first try, and you can, if you do research, if you prepare well for it, you're gonna be good to go. So let me post a response, and thank you everyone for asking your questions today. Hopefully my answers were helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Just make sure not to post them under my answer to your question, my response to your question, because I don't see them in this comment section. Just submit it as a separate comment and I will be able to see it. So thank you everyone for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.